First of all, I really don't appreciate Seth calling me a bitch.
Shawn Trujillo accuses Meredith Marks of using her son Brooks after gay rumors. Proof, biatch!
A biatch, okay?
And Whitney's like, you're calling me a bitch. I'm like, okay, here we go again. But the reality is, this is about his wife and his child.
He's Meredith's bitch. He was dressed head to toe in Meredith Marks merch, getting his phone and crossing the line and in Angie and I's face calling us biatches. That's aggressive. You don't do that.
I wish I'd been there.
Maybe she should look in her own space a little bit. Like, she had no problem with the way Justin spoke to Leisa.
She's not a liar.
The F-bomb's a lot more aggressive than biatch, which is not even a swear word. Okay, it's a fake word, which is not bitch.
It's not bitch.
And it's not the same meaning.
No.
You're not saying bitches? Well, it sounds like bitches to me. And if my husband picked up a phone and shoved it in Meredith's face and said, biatch, her head would have been bobbing, we would have never heard the end of it. But if the tables were turned, all hell would have broke loose.
I think it's like comedic relief, quite frankly. I think that the way that has been coined is like out of comedy, not out of like
biatch.
Nastiness. Yeah. Would you agree? It's comedic. It's not like...
I think it's a great comedic tool.
Yeah, it's not meant to be
the use of biatch historically is a great tool in
It's not
comedy.
like looking at you and saying, see you next Tuesday. What?
That's kind of bizarre because Seth is usually pretty neutral-minded when it comes to Meredith and what she's in the middle of. Makes you wonder if, like, somebody's getting different stories.
But if he was joking, then can we apply that lens of maybe Shawn was upset when he said what he said? Like, that's what I can't handle, is the self-righteousness that where everyone else is wrong, but when we do it, it's a joke or an example or a story or there's always an excuse.
He thought he had some proof. It was a clickbait article, a headliner. That was their proof, that he didn't even listen to the podcast.
You know, Seth, he later went on in the night to tell Shawn that he's never even listened to the podcast. So if you're gonna back your wife, you better fact check your information and know what's going on.
Angie and Whitney can't come at me solo. They have to come to me either with each other or with their husbands. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're pathetic.
I've been privy to conversations between the two of you and really taken back by some of the abuse that my wife has taken on the other end of that phone call.
I feel like I'm super direct with people. I think if I'm upset with you, you know it. If you want to know why, I'll have no problem telling you that. Your wife did something bad to me, and I got upset, so I'm the bad person. That's gaslighting.
That's gaslighting.
Like 101.
So there was a conversation. Leisa was upset with me about something, and I was on speaker. She was yelling at me to the point where, like, I just couldn't take it anymore. She wanted my blind loyalty on something. She was yelling at me to the point to where, like, I was in tears. She was yelling at me saying, I want the screenshots of your conversations with this particular person, because it was a mess that I felt like help get her out of. And I told her what I said in this conversation. She didn't believe me, which right then and there I thought, wow, like, she doesn't trust me and she's threatening me. Like, I want to see the conversation because I don't believe you. And then she's screaming at me at the top of her lungs. She screams and then hangs up on me.
It probably explains why we're not good friends, because I would never let anybody talk to me like that.
I let it go too far. And that's why I started to distance myself from Leisa.
I mean, Angie and Leisa were dear friends for years and years and years, and that's kind of a broad accusation for a husband to make.
It's a major
about two women who are friends. They may be going through a rough patch, but I mean, Lisa's had Angie's back strongly, and
Leisa nearly completely decimated any chance of any friendship with me because of Angie and her lies.
I defended Angie vehemently with everything. And I feel like I got used a little bit, and that's fine. It was my fault. I let her use me. But I was there, and it was a one-sided friendship, which is like, now I have my eyes wide open. That's why we're not having 7 hours of conversation every day.
What I don't think is happening is Leisa is just picking up the phone and abusing Angie. I don't think that's happening. I think there's a lot more to the story.
And I don't understand why Shawn would say it, because we want to broker peace with these two. They're friends, and they aren't. They're not even really at all.
The word abuse has such horrific connotations to it. It is a word choice that you kind of can't come back from.
Think back to when she had her hot mic moment, her rant about Meredith.
She's a whore. She's half of New York.
So imagine if it was behind closed doors on the phone where no one could hear.
Well, Leisa and I recently had a conversation where things were not going well between us, and I said something that had bothered me, and I expected her to say, oh, I didn't know that bothered you, and she said, well, these are the 16 things you've done recently that bothered me, and I was very surprised she came back so defensive and hard-hitting, so I can't say that she's yelled at me, but there is an edge there that I wouldn't say I'm scared of, but I'm more and more aware is there if you go against her, for sure.
We were at the long dinner table one night, and I'm like, you owe me an apology. I did not do this. And Justin finally said he was sorry.
My reaction was probably stronger than I wish it would have been.
Thank you.
So I apologize.
Thank you, Justin.
For how I reacted to that.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Me too.
Truthfully, it pissed me off that Justin chose to be the bigger person.
There is a lot of strength, not weakness,
Yes.
in saying, I'm going to stop this, I'm going to be the bigger person. But I understand what you're saying. When I'm frustrated, I'm like, no, there's no room for bigger people right now. Let's just stay petty.
So I, in the moment, I was upset.
Yeah, but it was the right thing.
But it was the right thing to do, and I'm really grateful for him because he has so much wisdom, and he's teaching me. But I was really pissed that Leisa got her way with it. Because that woman gets away with everything. And I really don't enjoy that she'll treat people so poorly.
She's a liar,
She's not a
She's a liar.
And still expect us to treat her like she's the goddamn queen of the universe.
Do you feel like you're in a position where you should apologize to Leisa?
I mean, Justin's a man of few words, but what I gather from the conversation is that John was very much saying that Leisa was out of line.
I mean, John's a very pragmatic person. He doesn't like conflict. And during the lunch, John said, I feel like you owe Leisa an apology.
I feel like she deserves an apology because it felt more aggressive than it should have been.
So going into Palm Springs, I very much was hoping that Leisa would apologize to Justin.
I'm sorry for putting you in that position.
Thank you for apologizing to him. But I don't know that she really thinks she did anything wrong.
I didn't do anything wrong because it's based on fact. You're lying.
I didn't do it to you! Shut the up about that! I didn't do it to you!
You said, I did something I did not do.
Did it smooth over after that, or was it still tense?
No, I felt fine.
That's good.
I mean, we had tequila together, so I don't know.
Well, that's was it Vita?
It was Vita.
Okay, well then all is well.
Oh my gosh,
all
I
is
wouldn't
well.
drink anything else.
I do know after he apologized, she softened, and then at the table said, oh, we love the roses. And then we went into the bar, and she and John came up to us and gave us a hug and said, we love the roses. Then I woke up the next morning and she was back to her antics, pissed off at me. I don't think I did a good enough job in Palm Springs calling it out, and I wish I would have, to really, push Leisa to say, hey, even your husband said you're in the wrong. You should probably apologize.
I often think to myself when I bring a small thing to Leisa that I want clarity or an apology for and she can't give it to me, what if the roles are reversed? What mountain would I have to climb to get back in Lisa's good graces if I had done to her what she did to me? She expects, big changes after an apology. Are we allowed to expect big changes of Leisa?
That's exactly when I say I only pour into people that pour back into me. You can't trust a double standard. It's like you sleep with one eye open all the time.
Where did you and Leisa leave things when leaving Palm Springs?
We were in a neutral place. Leisa and I talked. It did resolve some of the stuff for me, but it created new stuff for me in that I don't know why I'm having to ask Leisa multiple times to tell me to my face in a private conversation, no, I don't think you're a vicious, two-faced bitch.
Put the bar all the way on the floor for you so you can trip over it. Am I two-faced, Leisa? Is your experience with me that I am two-faced?
Is my experience with you that you're two-faced?
Oh my God, that's an awful lot of thinking about it.
No, stop.
I'm sorry seems to be hard for her. I'm wrong seems to be hard for her. And I really felt like I had to put a line of I need you to acknowledge this, or I don't know where we go from here. So it feels begrudging. And there's a lot of excuses and rationalization always about why she did the things she did.
I feel like Bronwyn wanted me to validate her in something that was hard for me to validate her in. I feel like Heather came to me and told me her side. I'm more than happy to hear Bronwyn's side and see where there might be some disconnect. I see why Bronwyn felt the way she did, but I believe what Heather told me too.
I feel badly that you were upset.
Okay, thank you.
The bottom line is, do I think there's a huge misunderstanding between you two? 100%.
Oh, no, don't.
Do I feel
end it at the I feel badly for you.
I could have been anywhere in Palm Springs and heard the conversation because Leisa talks so loud.
She does.
Bronwyn was trying to really explained to Leisa why she felt zero support from her. Like, you sat at the ropes course and let Heather come at me and you didn't say one word.
Bronwyn, you were snarky about it too.
That's what I'm telling her. Stop yelling.
I'm not yelling. It's just the way I talk.
And I found that interesting because Leisa really did support me when people were, you know, being rude to me, talking about my family, my marriage.
Wait, no, that's rude.
But she did not back Bronwyn for 5 seconds with Heather.
I think that Heather and I have worked really hard to get to a point where we could trust each other. I used to call Heather a liar and say she spins the truth with Whitney to destroy things.
Here we go, weather. Whitney and Heather, bad weather, tornado. Spin the truth, destroy.
And I think that we got to a place where I trust her in our relationship, so I'm like hearing her, but they're both
two sides of the same
but they're
coin,
both valid. And I'm like,
basically.
I've had times with Bronwyn where she's, you know, not translated information accurately. So it's kind of like I'm hearing you and this is your experience, but you can't invalidate Heather's.
Yeah.
And now she's like flipping over to Bronwyn's side because she's on Bronwyn's trip.
Like, the bottom line is, I'm here because I wanted to be with you. Can I hug you?
Yeah.
I thought, okay, so how's this gonna go over with Heather now? Because you left Team Heather and now you're saying I can see how you feel.
Interesting.
I do see Leisa trying to fix it with me. I don't know that Leisa has the tools to fix it in a friendship. Something has gone wrong between Leisa and I since I've been introduced to the group. There was something that I did early on that I still don't know what it is that has upset Leisa. And Leisa is a punisher. She punishes people. She ices them out. She makes them feel uncomfortable. She lets them flap in the wind alone, whatever you want to call it. And then that doesn't feel good. So I'm leaving there with almost all the same questions I went to Palm Springs with, which are Leisa and I really friends? Can I really count on her? And I think I'm gaining more and more evidence that the answer to those questions are no. And that makes me really sad. I'm gonna keep searching for that answer until I really learn what the answer is.